hold it. Everybody's starting to come on in. So make sure that you share a comment and just engage throughout. I have some fun things planned for us. So we're going to go ahead and move forward. But after that, Antonio, just share a little bit more. When you think of the sign that you think about heat, tell me what you think. Identify sources of heat. We're going to ask the question, what are sources of heat? So Victoria's going to kind of really move on now. We'll be taking 40 seconds to take down this vocabulary, but heat energy is the flow of energy from a warm object to a cooler object. The concept of heat by obtaining additive communication and to communicate information knowledge. We make forces, we produce work. And we'll talk more about what that means throughout the week. And then there are different types of heat. Well, not necessarily different types of heat, but there are different sources of heat. So when you look at this, you see that a computer, how many of us have ever noticed hot and cool things, right? Okay, how many of us have ever noticed some of these things that have noticed where heat comes from? Of course, we all know that heat comes from the sun, as we talked about, and we all know that heat comes from fire. But there are a few other places that heat comes from. So I want you to take a few moments just to jot down where heat comes from, and then we'll talk about, I'll just set a little timer. If you're appropriately dressed and people know that you're on a video conference, go ahead and turn your video on if you would like. We're gonna kind of go through some of these things and just kind of talk about heat. So I'll give everybody 10 seconds and then we'll go ahead and get started. I'm gonna close out the chat box. If you post something, I might not be able to see it. Well, I'll see a little now. All right, so I see a few kids on, and we'll go ahead and get started. So to everybody, if your answer to something is yes, then just put a silent thumb up. So every one of us saw the sun, right? On this list. Yes. Put a silent thumb up if you saw it. Well, you have guess. Okay, good. I'll take that one little thumb. So we all saw the sun, but there are other ways in which we can get heat energy. So I want us to look at the one, I'm going to talk about phone. How many of us have ever had our phones and just been outside and realized that they got hot, or have played a game for a really, really long time and recognized that our phones have gotten hot? So Antonio, he's recognized that. I'm sure he has, because he likes to play a lot of games on the phone. I called you out. And so many of us notice that. All right, so that's a form of heat energy. Let's look at a few others. How many of us, and you all might be noticing this, how many of you all notice when you turn your computer on, it might be cool or it might be room temperature, but as you work on it and you open up more activities and more games and all that stuff, it gets hotter. Or you can also sometimes hear the fan going. Put a silent thumb up if you notice that as well. Or you can put in the chat box a silent thumb up because I can only see Maisha, Antonio, and Lamar. All right, so that's another form of heat energy. The other thing I want us to notice is that we can create heat energy like right here, right now. So everybody take your hands and go like this and put them together. Okay, feel the temperature right there. Take them apart, put them on your face, and just kind of get a feel for how warm it feels. Now, put them back together. This is called friction, and you are making heat. When you're rubbing two items together, you're making friction, and then I want you to feel your hands again. They should be a little bit like warmer. Does everybody kind of like feel that heat on your face? So it's just another couple of things. Of course, we have obvious things like stoves, and then sometimes we use lighters to light birthday candles. Another thing that we get heat from is from light. And this is my like handy, well, y'all can't see it. Let me turn my computer. This is my little handy dandy lamp. How many of us have ever had a lamp and we have had it off? And when you go kind of like go to turn on the lamp, it's cool, but then you come back a few moments later and it's warm. Like I'm feeling it now. It's been on since the morning time and it's still a little warm. So that's just a little, where does heat energy come from? And what are some sources of heat? So let's keep it pushing, all right? We all talked about the sun. What you all are gonna do is a field trip kind of exploration. I'm like Miss Frizzle, only I'm not her, I'm just kind of like her. So we're gonna pretend to get on the magic school bus and we're gonna hop over and go to the sun. I'm only gonna give you about 1 or 2 minutes, but you're gonna use this time to really just explore the sun. So you can zoom out, you can zoom in, you can spin it around, just kind of get an idea of what the sun looks like. So this one is pretty simple, but we'll do like 50 seconds. If you can kind of put some stuff in the chat box, but you have about 30 seconds. Forward, but it's just always kind of cool to look around and see what our sun looks like. So that's that. So now let's go somewhere else. So now we're doing this virtual field trip, right? We've recognized that the sun provides heat, but I also want to think about other areas in our world that have high amounts of heat energy. So, of course, if we were to imagine a place that had a lot of heat energy, we could imagine a desert. So I'm going to give you about 2 minutes to explore this area. You can also enter VR and look at it through the goggles. So I'll take just a moment. Where's my timer? Stepped on that sand, and sometimes we recognize like, wow, the sand is extremely hot. It looks scary. The sand is extremely hot. I wonder, and I wonder if you think the same thing, why would the sand be hot? If the heat is coming from the sun or like from the environment, why do you all think the sand is hot? Okay, so now we're coming to end. All right, so we just we just kind of went on a field trip to the desert. Now we're gonna go on another place, and I want you all to think about, yes, you can see those little eyes flipping up. I want you all to think about where we are. We're at the North Pole, and I want you all, huh? Say that again, Madison. What's the word? Your options are going to be desert or North Pole. North Pole. Which has more heat energy? The desert. Share it in the chat box. Let's see. Let's see who the first 5 people are. I don't know, maybe I'll write their names down and we'll reward them. Really, Antonio? Dester? I'll take it. Make sure you correct that. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6. Y'all don't know how to spell desert? What are y'all doing? Explore the world, but I think what's really interesting is that there's even heat energy here, and we typically don't think of the North Pole as a spot that's hot. And then our last place, this one wasn't really mentioned, but think about this. Where do y'all think these people are? Put your thoughts in the chat box. So what I like about this skill is it's pretty straightforward and pretty simple. Yeah, near the volcano in Hawaii. We're looking to be able to identify different sources of heat. So we've talked about some. Why don't y'all add a few in the chat box, and then we'll move on to the next portion. As a matter of fact, now, you don't have to do it in the chat box. You're going to do it here. So now, nope, we don't need to do that. From where do you think heat comes? So we've talked about a couple of different places. Of course, we could put the sun, but I want to see if people have been taking their notes and putting their, ideas down. Little Lamar, cute little baby. Oh, I miss y'all so much. Let's see who the first 4 people are who comment, and I'm gonna put some time up here. Okay. Always looking for a winner. So be prepared to get it ready. What provides a greater source of heat energy? And there should be some pictures there or at least some words.